Thank you very much for staying late. My name is Bill O'Brien. I'm the Director of Business Development at Copyright Clearance Center. We're not only a licensing organization, but we're also a solutions provider in the APC management space. So I appreciate the opportunity to be the last one up today. So Open Access, a new crest to reach, with barely a rest from the last one. That's an excerpt from one of my favorite songs by Stephen Stills, a tune called Thoroughfare Gap. Great song about a train on an ever-steepening rise to the mountains. Give it a listen if you can. You might see yourself as that small metal dragon approaching the ever-steepening rise to the pass. It's a great song. So today I want to talk a little bit about a cautionary tale for all of us. It's a heartening tale, though, and especially heartening for me because I'm here to tell it. And the tale that I'll share with you, I wasn't quite sure of the outcome during that hike. In mountain climbing or in our goal to reach the crest for open access, there's always disruption. There's always a change in business model. There's always the threat of weather or avalanche or changing snow conditions. But that breeds innovation and experimentation and the ability to try new things. It's all about regaining control and keeping forward, keep moving the path forward. So there are always great lessons to be learned from not only the mountains, but changes in the business environment. So the business story is your OA strategy is akin to a mountain assault. It's life-changing, but not life-threatening. The essentials are, as always, planning, having the right tools, support. Thank you, Todd, for bringing up infrastructure. Infrastructure is very important. And then certainly communication. So I'd like to share my story today. And then we'll segue into our story. So I'd like to draw some parallels between my passion for the mountains as a hiker, a backpacker, a climber, and a skier, and the role of publishers and vendors in getting their authors and clients to the top. Any hikers or backpackers out there? Ice climbers, rock climbers, extreme skiers? Skiers that still have their faculties about them? Okay. So when I was 15 years old, after about a year's experience of hiking in New England, I and a bunch of mates decided to climb the highest peak in New England, Mount Washington. It's a mere 6,288 feet, but it's also known to have some of the most ferocious weather on the planet. The highest wind speed of 231 miles an hour, that's 371 kph, was recorded here. Avalanches scour the steep ravines in winter, and heavy rains can turn a small mountain stream into a raging torrent in minutes. If you do a search on mountain fatalities, Mount Washington and the surrounding peaks often make the top 10. At 135 deaths and counting, Mount Washington is in good company with well-known but much higher peaks like Everest, K2, Annapurna, Nanga Parbat, Denali, and the Matterhorn. So, what started as a sun-drenched September morning at the trailhead turned into a nightmare a few short hours later, high above the tree line. A freezing fog and horizontal snow set in, limiting visibility to mere yards. Ice covered the rocks and made the steep escarpment behind us an impossible escape route. Winds picked up to 70 or 80 miles an hour. Our only hope was to forge onto the summit in order to connect with a safer route down. We knew that with near zero visibility, losing the marked trail could put us dangerously close to the cliff bands below, and one slip could send us on a plunge hundreds of feet to you-know-what fate. Typically along the route up through Tuckerman Ravine and on up to the summit, there are a number of signs that say, turn back here if inclement weather sets in. It should say, all teenage boys turn back here no matter what. But we proceeded on anyway. So, our cotton jeans and otherwise poor clothing were frozen to our bodies in short order. Why would anybody think to bring gloves or a hat for a September day hike? Nearing hypothermia, we all forged on with teeth chattering and shivering uncontrollably. Luckily, the mountain gods smiled on our small group that day, and we made it to the summit hours later. A cluster of buildings at the top provided temporary warmth and the ability to defrost. Still, we needed to beat our way back down before dark as we had no provisions for an overnight stay. We made it back down safely just as darkness set in. I vowed on bended knee that day that never again would I go into these mountains without the proper preparation, gears, and tools. If I was to make it to my 16th birthday, this was an imperative. So since that fateful day, I've labored hard to gain experience, to learn my tools. I've done some guiding, and I became a volunteer in a mountain search and rescue team while in my 20s, mainly because I always wanted someone to come look for me if things got dicey or if I got lost. So maybe not as dramatic or life-threatening, open access has created that new crest to reach. Publishers and vendors must act as guides to get our clients, our authors, to the summit. To get there, we all need to provide the tools, equipment, and leadership to attain and retain the author base. To be an effective guide, you need to size up the client, their skills, and their weaknesses. We need to get to know them as best as possible in order to tailor an experience unique to each individual and to each manuscript. So why do we climb mountains or the open access peak? When asked why he would attempt Everest, George Mallory memorably said, "Because it was there. He only made it halfway." So why do we seek the summit of Mount Open Access today? Well, to steal a stolen quote from Mark Twain, there's gold in them thar hills. An interesting report recently from Simba points out to some very encouraging facts. Journal titles have grown by 20.6% in 2014. Open articles now account for an estimated 10 to 20% of all articles. The Directory of Open Access Journals records 1.6 million articles. Simba estimates that to grow to 3 million by 2017. 2012 to 2013 growth has been nearly 71%. On the revenue side, OA Journal revenue has grown 33.8% from 2011 to 13. 2013 revenues of $242 million represents a 32.7% growth. All very encouraging numbers. 2014 revenues are estimated by Simba to hit $440 million. The top 10 commercial publishers or open access publishers have grown by an average of 25.2%. Some 40 to 50% or more, and Wiley a whopping 186% if you've read their recent annual report. And keep in mind that many APCs are still waived or discounted, so there's obviously a lot of experimentation and growth going on in the marketplace. So who are these authors and climbers? Authors wear many hats or helmets. They're researchers, professors, scientists, authors, subscribers, members, and reviewers. Mount Everest is a fine example, depending on where you are in your OA journey. Whether you're just flying into Kathmandu, making your way to base camp, or backed up in traffic on the Hillary Step about to make your summit bid, ask what are the tools that make up the publisher's workflow, that hold the different nuggets of information defining who these author climbers are. We've got submission systems by our good friends Aries and ScholarOne and Bench Press and eJournal Press. We have production management systems. We have peer review systems and processes. We have subscription and membership systems, CRM systems, financial management systems. Some are off the shelf, some bespoke. These are the tents and shelters that hold the tools that we'll need to reach our goal. No two tents are alike. They differ not just by color and size, but by content and by use. All are nonetheless essential to the workflow, and all contain the elements that can customize and personalize your interactions with your authors. Each system contains a combination of unique metadata, the virtual DNA of the author climber. When CCC recently built our RightsLink for Open Access platform, the standard APIs were created to become the climbing harness and rope that could clip into the metadata at any point in the workflow to tailor APC and author charge transactions to individual authors and individual articles, or book chapters or books, to cinch together that climber, the guide, and the mountain. Think about all your systems and workflow that way. There are many types with various price points of content, that is, just as there are many hills and mountains to climb. We've got open access clinical trials, peer-reviewed articles, letters, proceedings, books. So be the guide. Being a guide takes knowledge, experience, leadership, integrity, and guts, and you've got all of those attributes. The information defining these content types and their authors lies in the various tenets along the approach. There are ORCID IDs, which are your avalanche transceivers, shovels, and probes to keep your authors from falling through the cracks. Membership IDs are the ropes and webbings to tether them and protect them. Ringgold IDs are the ice axes that anchor them to the institutions and universities. Manuscript IDs are the crampons to affix authors to the work. Geographical identifiers are the climbing boots. DOIs are the helmets of intellectual property. Ice screws are your APCs. Camming devices, your color charges. JUMAR, your page charges. And Petzls to guide the way. So get them to the summit with you. Don't fall in that couloir. Keep clear of avalanche tracks. Watch out for crevices. Don't stand under that serac. Avoid terrain traps. In the new world where the author is customer, all of these data points are important. Knowing thy customer is crucial in order to deliver better services, customized services, and entice them to do more with you. Buy more, write more, review more, and come back for more. Help them climb higher with you. As you cobble together new systems or retool existing ones, keep in mind the various data points and intimate details that define your climbers and make their adventure with you unique. Remember, as Ed Visters, the famous American climber, said, it's a round trip. Getting to the summit is optional. Getting down is mandatory. So thank you very much. In the words of one of our great mountain guides, today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you very much.